Yo, Joe. Talking comics, here's your host. It's A Real American Brian.
It's time to get back into some more G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. And we're over to issue number 28. We have another Mike Zeck cover here with a Cobra plane coming in to attack a G.I. Joe tank. Swamp Fire, written by Larry Hama and pencils by Marie Severin. The Joes have escaped the Everglades and are headed back to the G.I. Jane freighter in the Gulf of Mexico. As they climb on board, Cutter and Deep Six tell them that Duke is on the way. Wild Bill, Roadblock, and Duke have arrived and begin looking at maps to locate the Cobras. Cobra Commander and Firefly are inside Zartan's shack, while Zartan and the Dreadnoks have been out looking for the three Joes. Zartan and the Dreadnoks assume that the Joes have left to a support ship and that heavy firepower is on the way into the swamp, so they are out of there. Zartan tells Cobra Commander the lair is his. Destro, Baroness, and Wild Weasel are coming up on some hidden Cobra resources that Baroness arranged for them. Further inland, some local cops are waiting at a train crossing when Steeler drives a tank out of a train car and rips the side of their police cruiser off. Back on the freighter, the Joes are loading into the Whale, the waterborne hovercraft assault landing experimental. They launch the Whale along with the Dragonfly. Inside the empty Cobra oil tanks are three Rattlers. Baroness gets in one and heads back to Springfield to make arrangements for Cobra Commander's return. Wild Weasel and Destro take their own plane and head back to Zartan's swamp. Cobra Commander and Firefly pick something up on the radar and then discover many of the controls on the panel are fake. The Joes are attacking by land, air, and sea. Destro and Wild Weasel are going to sneak up behind the Joes and provide some air support. Firefly rips apart the fake radar control panel to expose some kind of video game. The local police are still following the Joes' tank, attempting to stop them. The Rattlers have spotted the Dragonfly. Doc and Wild Bill have likewise got a signal on the incoming Cobra planes. Wild Bill calls over to Duke on the Whale, telling them about the Rattlers. The video game was actually Zartan's secret plan. He has a platoon of Cobra robot troopers and his tanks hidden under the swamp waters, and they can be controlled by the new panel in his shack. The police cruiser finds a clearing where they can pull in front of the tank, and as soon as they do, they see the Hiss tanks and Cobra robots. The Joes, with a little help from the police, begin picking apart the Cobras, blowing up several tanks and taking down a lot of the robots with little trouble. But even so, there are still seemingly endless numbers of robots still in the fight. The Whale comes out of the water and begins moving across land to provide some backup to the Joe tank. Firefly wants to take over control of the robot army. Cobra Commander has lost most of his tanks and half of the robot army already. The Joes attempt to get the local police out of there, but they want to stick around and fight. The Cobra air support has arrived and begins firing down at them. Baroness arrives in Springfield and gets into a cab and asks to go to the detention level. The cab drives into a car wash and then down a hidden ramp underground. Baroness asks Major Blood how badly he wants his freedom. He asks her who she wants him to kill. The Joes pull the tank under some foliage and then attempt to get it cooled down so the Rattlers can't find their heat signatures. Wild Weasel has the police car on his radar and is going in for the kill. A direct hit and the police car is gone. Destro is lining up the tank when the Joes finally get it cooled down and it disappears from his radar. The Joes on the Whale spot a Rattler and Deep Six is able to hit it, but it's still in the air. It comes back around and fires at the Whale, hitting the Joes. All the Joes on the Whale are hit and injured. Only Deep Six has a working gun. The Rattler is coming around for another pass, and Deep Six can't get his gun to elevate. Roadblock pulls the gun off the mount and holds it up for Deep Six to fire. They destroy Destro's Rattler. He has to bail out as the plane explodes. Wild Weasel has landed his Rattler at Zartan's shack. Cobra Commander gets in and tells Firefly he will have to find his own way. There is no room for him. Firefly is upset and blows up the shack as he leaves. The Joes see the shack is destroyed, and Duke tells them they need to get Doc back to take care of the crew on the whale. The Joe's tank pulls the whale to shore, and they get to work on field dressings for the injured Joes. Firefly, still upset about being left behind, runs into Destro, who asks him if he wants to do something about it. Zartan and the Dreadnoks are headed north to look for the Joes. That is issue 28. The adventure in the Everglades comes to an end, and we have Destro and Baroness forming some kind of plot. The Joes are licking their wounds and headed back home victorious. My favorite panel from this issue is Roadblock, pulling the gun out of the mount and holding it up for Deep Six to shoot down Destro, showing off his strength and working as a team to get the job done. This was another fun issue. I'm going to give it 4 flag points. I could do with less of the local cops comedy bits, but it was still a very good issue. That is issue 28. Knowing is half the battle, and now you know. Subscribe so you don't miss it on the next episode where we go through issue 29.
That was A Real American Brian. And now you know, because knowing is half the Brian.